that I completely ditched my career in dentistry, and I'm a full-time entrepreneur growing a lot of wealth at a very quick time that I didn't expect. I want to share this with you guys. If you are debating, if you want to go to college, or if you are debating if you want to pursue entrepreneurship, I think this video will be so beneficial for you. Hey Fatty and Business family, my name is Isabella. I am the owner of 2 six-figure earning online businesses, but I wasn't always. I worked many different jobs before I actually became a full-time entrepreneur. And if you are familiar with my full story, you would know I was actually in college for dental hygiene when all of this really started to blow up. And when I dropped my career in dentistry. One thing that I really do believe is that there are people that are called to be doctors. There are people that are called to do certain jobs. So in no way would I ever say like, oh, that's not a good career. Like you shouldn't do that, or you should never work a 9-to-5, because no, like there are certain people that they're put in those jobs for a reason and they're called to those jobs for a reason. So who am I to ever tell anybody that? But I just want to share my story and my own opinions with you guys. So if you're, debating, if you're feeling like an inclination towards going down the entrepreneurship route, not only are you going to learn a lot from this video, but this should motivate and inspire you as well. I don't just talk about what I do, I actually show you guys step by step how you can do the same. If you're new to my YouTube channel, I have an entire free course playlist of everything that I've done. I just show you guys how to do it step by step for free. And I also have more educational videos of how you guys can make money online and start your entrepreneurship journey. I do put you guys on to things that people charge thousands of dollars for, and all I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button and like this video for the YouTube algorithm so I can continue to make videos just like this. I used to watch videos very similar to this in my entrepreneurship journeys. With you being here right now, it's very important that you do watch, myself, other YouTubers, because just hearing other people's journeys will really help you with yours too. So you are able to share the same mindset as people that might be living in the same way that you want to live in the future. And for me to even be in dental hygiene school and to pursue a career in dentistry, honestly, even that was shocking that I made it that far, because I literally graduated high school from a dropout prevention program. I also went to an all-girls school for a couple years. It was called PACE. It was a school for troubled girls. And I went through a lot at that time. So growing up through high school, I thought I was stupid, and I just thought I was never ever gonna make it in college. For me to even be able to graduate from dental hygiene school was a huge accomplishment, as it is for anyone. So just to paint the picture, I was no scholar or straight A student at all. But it was also at this time in my life when I started to see that I could do anything that I actually believed that I could do. I'm also going to be sharing why I will do everything in my power to never have to return to a 9-to-5 job. And it's not that, oh, well, I'm too good for a 9-to-5 and I don't want to ever work a 9-to-5 again, because no, like guys, it has nothing to do with that. But I have seen the world in a new view. Like ever since I became a full-time entrepreneur, I have seen the world completely differently. And this is really what I want to share with you guys today. So from the very beginning, I wanted to work. Like I didn't want to waste 1 minute just sitting around the house or, thinking about my past, because at that time in my life, I was going through a lot of things. I was struggling with a lot of trauma that happened to me, and I'm not going to get into that. But working kind of kept my mind off of ever looking back towards my past, because I was in the frame of mind where I just wanted to work towards my future. Watching my parents work paycheck to paycheck their whole lives has made me to where I always had to look out for myself and find opportunities for myself, because I never had someone to fall back on financially or to rely on for them to get me opportunities. Someone could use this kind of thing as an excuse, or they could use this as a way to motivate them to do better and to strive for good things for their own life. So the first time I had an actual job was when I was 17. I was actually sitting in my childhood dentist office getting a cleaning, and I was asking the hygienist, how do you like what you do? Like at this time in my life, I was really just trying to figure out like what the heck I was gonna do with my life, because quite frankly, I had no idea. And the hygienist at the office is like, let me go talk to the doctor. So she went and talked to the doctor, and they gave me a part-time position, literally just scanning papers at their office. So it was because I was, kind and said like, oh, you're so good at what you do. And I asked a question. I was able to get a job at this office, and I literally don't even know how much I made, because I was just happy to be able to be working in a professional field at that age. So for me to get that opportunity was literally amazing, but it was only once a week because I was finishing high school at that time. But nonetheless, that was my first ever job, so I was definitely thankful to have it, even if it was just scanning paperwork. So obviously I needed to kind of move forward and get another job because I was only really there once or 2 times a week, and I'm so thankful that they gave me that opportunity because it kind of put a new direction on what I wanted to do next. That's when I started working 2 jobs. I worked at the Circle K gas station, and I also worked at a Greek restaurant. At this time, I was also doing my online side hustles, and I wanted to save up and go to dental assisting school. At this time in my life, remember, I still thought I was dumb because I graduated from a dropout prevention school across the street from the county jail. So I just thought like, oh, I'll never make it in college. So that's when I found out dental assisting is like a vocational school, which means it's like a trade school. So I saved up enough money from doing my online side hustles and from my 2 jobs to pay for dental assisting school. So I started dental assisting and I loved it. I was super happy until I started to learn some things. I guess my parents just never really told me certain things about the real world that I just guess I never knew. One big thing for me was I did not know that you had to earn time off. Like in my unexperienced mind, I had just thought that you could just tell your coworkers like, hey, I'm going on vacation next week, or like, hey, I'm not feeling good. Like, I don't know why. I just like didn't know that in order to like go on vacations or like to take time off, like I did not realize that you had to earn that. And that was a shock to me. Now, I know some careers and some jobs, you can do that. But in this kind of field, in the medical field, or specifically in this, in the dental field, that wasn't a thing. And I understand because, you know, we're relied on, as the employee, we're relied on by, you know, our employer and by the customers, or in this case, patients, to be there. But this was a shock to me. And once I learned this, I started to say, you know what, well, I need to figure out what I can do to be more flexible. And at this time too, guys, like I was doing my online side hustles, but if you've watched my other videos, you know that I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I could actually be an entrepreneur full time or pursue these things full time, because every time like I even thought of that, like my mom was like, no, like you need to stay at your full-time job. Like this isn't guaranteed. This money isn't guaranteed, right? So I was literally working full-time and still doing my online side hustles. But the reality is that like me working a full-time job, I was exhausted when I got home. It was like, you know, full, like, you know, wake up at 8 in the morning, get there and not leave until like 5 or 6. So like it's a full day, you know, gone, which was fine. Like I was so thankful to be in like a professional field at such a young age. But I just was like, no, I need to figure out something else. So I looked into dental hygiene, and I was also inspired by the dental hygienists that came into the office because they could inject, they could do like a lot more things, and they were just so well educated. And I got so inspired, and I'm like, what's stopping me from trying? And I said, I'd rather try and fail and go to college than have not tried at all. So after that, my focus, and after I started to think this way, my focus then became saving for college. So I saved everything I could for my online side hustles and my dental assisting job that I had. And I wound up going part-time as a dental assistant so I could take college courses. I will never forget walking into like my first college class, my college classes, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like if these people knew my grades in high school, like that I barely passed high school, like how can I do this in college? And in order to get into my dental hygiene program, I literally had to get all A's. Like they told me that from the beginning, and I will never forget. I went into the counselor's office to like sign up for college, and the counselor was like, oh, you went to this school? And they were like, you know, you have to, like, it was like so embarrassing. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'm not fit out for this. But you know what? I just kept going, and like I didn't let anybody's like bad opinions stop me. And like I said, I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. So I had this mindset. And at this time too, back then, I literally did not have that many friends because partially with what I was going through, I actually isolated myself from society when I was around 16, 17 years old. And I literally like didn't even leave my house for like a year. So I didn't have like a whole lot of friends, like, you know, saying like, oh, let's go do this or let's go do that. Like I was kind of just like chilling by myself most of the time too. Which I also feel like, you know, maybe everything did kind of happen for a reason. Not that the bad stuff was meant to happen, but God never fails to turn anything bad into a good situation and show you that. And back then, I didn't believe in God, but I see how he worked in my life now. I also find it so ironic that when you choose to do something, like when I chose to start college, everyone around me, I feel like in my life, they were so supportive right up front. Oh my goodness, that's so awesome. You're going to become in the dental field, that's amazing. But I remember when I went and was telling people oh, I want to start an online store, or I have an online store, because you guys know I already had an online store. I used to drop ship when I was 17. That was one of the first side hustles I started off doing. You really don't get the same support when you want to do something that's out of the society route. So if you are someone that you are very interested in being your own boss, not to sound too cliche, or becoming an entrepreneur, you have to realize that a lot of people won't support you. And that's just because it's just not the norm that we have in today's society. And it's crazy because as we grow up and go to school, the schools have not changed in 100 years. I heard this crazy statistic. So it's the way that they're directing us to live our lives and to work a 9-to-5 job, to live our lives, it really doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right way, but that's just kind of how they've conditioned our brains to think. So obviously then there's just become this society pressure of it. And not to say that you shouldn't go and get a 9-to-5 job, because I had a 9-to-5 job until my online store was hitting $20,000 a month in 2020, which I will get to that. So went through college, got into the dental hygiene program. I had all A's and 1 B. So imagine me graduating from a dropout prevention school, barely getting through high school, barely graduating. And I literally got all A's and 1 B in college. I did not think I could do that, but I did it. And that's always an accomplishment to me. Not so much because I got the A's, but it's really just because I finally was doing something that I knew that it was because I dedicated time to it and I wanted to do it. And I, was focused on it, on the vision and making that come true. I was able to get these things done. So getting into the program was a huge accomplishment, and I was officially going to become a dental hygienist. So I just wanted to give you guys that backstory that I've been in the dental field. So because I worked as a dental assistant from the time I was 17, late 17, until I was 23. And that was when my online store started to pop off. Now at this point, I was already at the end of my college dental hygiene program. So I was already kind of 1 foot out the door. And for me to just throw away all the time, all the money that I spent in college, just because, thank God, my businesses were blowing up so fast. I didn't know it would even happen, but I had to do my duty and finish what I started. And I, probably because I paid myself and because I put so much time in, I was more inclined to make that decision, but I just felt like I had to finish what I started. So I am technically a registered dental hygienist, but I do not practice. I even got my license to administer anesthesia. So I learned a lot in school, and this was the point in my life where I was put a cross paths in front of me, because one path I could, continue following society's route, or the other path I could keep on following this entrepreneurship route, which was clearly working. Because at this point, I went from making $20,000 a month to then $30,000 a month, and it just kept growing and growing. So for me, it just didn't make sense. Dental hygienists typically make around $80,000 a year. That's pre-tax. And we'll get into taxes and stuff in this video. One big difference between a career and entrepreneurship is that as an entrepreneur, there is no limit. You can go all the way up. You never know, right? There's no limit. But keyword, you never know, because things can fail, things can fall apart. And at the end of the day, you don't have a backup. You don't know that paycheck is coming. But it actually winds up being an advantage, because you want to work and hustle more to ensure that you're continuing to grow what you've started. And I always made extra money from my other side hustles, but it was never $20,000 a month. It was never to this extreme. And if you guys do want to watch how I turned $100 into $400,000, that video I get very technical, and I show more, behind the scenes of what actually happened with a timeline. So if you are interested in seeing that, definitely go watch that. That's on my YouTube channel. But in this video, I want to focus on kind of telling you guys my view on things, and just discussing how I feel as an entrepreneur and the differences between having a career and being an entrepreneur. And you guys know, I'm very open with you guys. I'm almost sometimes people are like, don't be too open with your audience. Like, no, I'm so open with you guys. And like, I know that's why like you guys love me and I love you guys, because I kind of talk to you guys. Like I go to my family's house and talk to them. Like I can't be fake. And that's why I also, say like all glory to God, because if you guys would have seen me when I was at my lowest, like you would not have recognized me. I'm telling you. And that's why, like, I don't know how I started to just have this mindset shift and like see all these visions for my life, because I was literally at the lowest point in my life and I was isolated from society. So like, that's why I'm very honest with you guys. And, I talk about God in my content too, because I'm telling you guys, that was not just me that pulled me out of that depression and the things that I went through in my life and like turned it to good. Like there's no way I had the power to just do that on my own. But I made decisions and I made choices that all led up to where I am today. So obviously I'm responsible in some way, but how the heck, from going from a depressed teen to changing my mindset and having visions of helping people in the future, but not only that, but like, like succeeding with online business, things like that. Like all these are just stepping stones, I feel like, in our life for the next thing. And that's how you have to look at life, is like you have to look at life as like stepping stones. Like nothing's gonna be overnight. Not like, I give you guys all the knowledge, all the information, all the free courses, but at the end of the day, nothing's overnight. Everything's a process. And, I was literally doing side hustles from the time I was 16, 17 years old to when I was a full-time college student. But things definitely significantly changed when I started an online store, and just so it was like, you know what, I need extra money. I kind of got put into a corner because that was when, COVID was going on. So I kind of got put in a corner and I had to hurry up, try to figure out how to make money again. And I gained that confidence back. That's why on this channel, I prioritize videos like this, like talking to you guys, mindset videos, because the truth is like, like I said, you guys can have all the information, but if your mindset is not on point, and if you don't believe in yourself, you don't have confidence that you will succeed, you just won't, because you'll give up. As soon as something, as soon as you don't see results, you'll give up right away. And part of being an entrepreneur is failing. And that is why I will always say it is never a failure, always a lesson. And you have to have that. Like if you think you want to, do entrepreneurship full time, you have to have that mindset, because I have gone through like a lot of little things that like failed, didn't work out, but I understood it. I learned. You have to like kind of think of like, what are you learning through each thing that you go through? So the whole time off thing, that was one big thing that made me want to figure out how to make money on my own. Another big reason of why I will probably never return to my 9-to-5 job is because of taxes. Now, as an online business owner, of course I pay taxes, guys. Like I talk about this with you guys, right? And I have a video about this on my YouTube channel too, like more in depth about this topic. Not advice, just telling you what I do. When it comes to taxes, I feel like personally that the tax code was written to benefit business owners, because the amount of things that you can write off, the amount of things that you can take advantage of as a business owner, you cannot do as an employee. So for example, if I was a dental hygienist and I was making a certain rate, say I'm working so hard and I'm like, I want a raise. Finally, I got a raise. But guess what? Imagine that raise put me in a different tax bracket, and now I'm left having to pay more taxes. So it's basically like I got a pay cut. So there's no way to dispute that when you're an employee. Like you can't do write-offs. But when you're an entrepreneur and you have even like, content creators, anything that you do online to make money, there are so many benefits. So I feel like, a lot of things that I do apply to my online business, and I'm able to just, I feel like, do so much more with my life that I couldn't do as an employee because of this. One quote that I read a lot is, if you don't chase after your dreams, you're going to wind up working for someone that you're helping to accomplish their dreams, because as an employee, you are working under someone else. So, you're kind of like, you have to go by what they say to do. Like they do have authority over your life, in some way. And, you're watching them, they probably make more money than you. And, that's something that, like, do you really want to live your life limiting yourself? Like imagine like, there's things in your life that you could have done and that's meant for you, but like you were not comfortable enough putting yourself there to actually get it, or to take just some risks. And it doesn't even mean money risks, guys. We live in a generation now where You can start so many things with $0, like I show on my YouTube channel. And not only that, but there's so many like options, so many different options because of the technology that we have today. We are living in a different generation. Like I always say, generations before us did not have access to the knowledge and the information that we have in our generation. The world has changed and we have to accept that. As you guys see, inflation is at the all-time high. Typically, employers do not keep up with inflation, like as inflation is increasing. So even if you work at a job, you stay at a job and like you're loyal to that job because of the benefits, you will wind up staying and not make enough money to actually even enjoy your life. Another reason of why I'll probably never go back to working a regular job is I just love to travel, and I feel like I'm young, I want to travel. I feel like everyone should travel, no matter what age you are, it doesn't matter. But I don't understand how some people can wait until they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s to travel. Because I'm telling you guys, like, you guys see me traveling like every other month. And these places, you have to, a lot of times, like, I'm like exhausted, first of all. Other times, you have to be like in some sort of healthy shape to travel and like go to these destinations. And, I get it. Like, not everybody wants to travel. And so the people that did wait until they were 60s, 70s, 80s to travel and they were in good shape, I love that for them. But I have seen, a lot of people that, they retired, and unfortunately, like, a lot can happen. And like, time is so short to just wait for retirement or to wait for those benefits that you've been working on for so long or working for so long to get. Pensions used to be a thing, like kind of with my parents' generation. But from what I have heard that that's kind of being phased out, which also is really very misfortunate. Another thing is a lot of people think that when they do retire, they'll be able to use whatever, they have with their investments, with their job. And this is like if you have benefits. Like there's a lot of jobs that don't provide benefits, but this is like, if you're in a good career, you get benefits, right? But like they almost like hand it over your head. And one thing that I want you guys to do too, if you guys are, in steady careers and you love your career, just do this one thing for me, is try to invest outside of like whatever your job does to invest for you. Because, you think, oh, I'm set up, I'm putting this much in. You need to check that yourself. Don't rely on nobody else to do that for you, because at the end of the day, like they're just trying to set it up for you, but you need to take action to make sure that you are actively investing if you want to go this route. But me personally, I'd rather take the risk now, make more money now, and enjoy it now. And if I didn't go out of my comfort zone and do that, I would not be living this type of lifestyle. Now, again, this isn't for everybody. Like, this is just what I personally saw from my life, like the vision that I saw from my own life. And I hate to get, like a little dark with you guys, but, I've seen statistics and things that nurses have wrote about people on, like their deathbed, and people have said, I wish that I traveled more. I wish that I went after my dreams. Like, these are the things that people say. And it's so heartbreaking to me that these people could have done that. But maybe they didn't have the right guidance. Maybe they were, being like, pressed down by other people in their life. If you want to do something, just do it. Don't let nobody else tell you different, because like I always say, God gave you that vision for a reason. That's why those people don't have that same vision, because it's not meant for them, but it's meant for you. So if you are feeling like you want to do something, do it. Because I am so thankful that I always followed the light and like positive things in my life, and not let like the darkness and bad situations and bad things that happen to me keep me down from ever pursuing the things that were meant for me. Because if I would have listened to like everybody, I'm telling you guys, like I would not have started it. But I didn't really care what other people had to say. And obviously you need to have proper discernment. Whenever you're starting things, there's a lot of scams online, scam courses, different scams. So just like be careful, obviously. As far as like you starting a YouTube channel or you starting an online business, you can start these things with $0. So if you're wanting to do it, just go for it. So me as an entrepreneur now, I wake up whenever I want. I go on vacation whenever I want. I do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about money. I manage it properly, and I'm able to live the life that I want to live and dedicate my extra time to things like this, which is helping you guys, with your journey. Like these kinds of things fills me up with so much fulfillment that a 9-to-5 job or my career, in dentistry never could. Did I feel good helping people and patients? 100%. And I loved the dental field. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was obviously like very committed to advancing in the medical/dental field, but obviously God had different plans for me, and I had to follow that, because now I am now led to helping you guys and accomplishing your goals. And I'm telling you, my online store is fun. My creator accounts are fun. I have fun with those things. But this channel, Baddie in Business, this community that we have built, this brings me so much fulfillment. Like, being able to sit in front of the camera and, just share things with you guys, it just brings me so much fulfillment that nothing else could. And you guys will find that in your own life too, and it will just wake you up. And when you feel that, you want everyone else to feel the same way, at least for me, at least. I genuinely feel like I was definitely placed in this path for a reason. Just want to share, how I feel with you guys, because I would hate for anyone to not follow their dreams or not follow what they want to do because of fear or because people are telling them not to. With my online store, it wasn't exactly what I was super passionate about doing right away, but it's what led me to the next thing and the next thing. So, a lot of times don't put too much thought into what you're doing to make money online. You do have to like it, you have to enjoy it, and obviously be ethical and do something that's providing value to people. But at the same time, it's important not to overthink it either, because like I said, I kind of went from one thing to another thing to another thing, and it all led me to where I am today. I genuinely feel like I'm doing exactly what God wants me to do, and that brings me a lot of fulfillment as well. This is an obvious one, is just being able to spend more time with my family. That's one thing that's super important to me, and I was not able to do that when I was working a full-time 9-to-5 job. Just the fact that I don't even set my alarm unless I had a flight to go on, and just the fact that I'm able to say that, freedom is the biggest flex in my opinion. And in order to achieve that freedom, you have to find out ways to make money. Another thing that I get so many questions about, people asking, is, well, what do you do about health insurance and benefits? What are you doing? Well, first of all, I'm investing on my own. So I would have had to work 9 years to make what I just made in 1 year. And probably more than that, more than 9 years. And that's just shocking, because, that's 9 years of getting up early. That's 9 years of being exhausted. That's 9 years of not traveling the way that I want to. So, that to me is really crazy to think about, just because, I did take this leap of faith and, kind of ditch my career in dental hygiene and, pursue entrepreneurship full time. But obviously, I waited until I saw some results until I took that risk and, completely stopped even thinking about that career. But the further that I, continue this entrepreneurship journey, the more that I know, I don't think I'll ever go back to working a 9-to-5, because I'm now able to set myself up for life. I'm buying investment properties with real estate. I'm buying different things that's going to set me up. And, I'm going to use my parents as an example. As far as health insurance goes, as growing up, my mom worked the same job, and she wasn't getting paid that much, but she stayed at the job for the health benefits. So that was almost dangled over her head. She could never feel like she could leave that job because the health benefits were so good. But at the same time, she wasn't making as much money. And I always feel like, if you're not taking care of yourself now, if you're not happy now, you're going to have to pay that money to the doctors later. So even though you're, working a lot now and you're trying to save more money or whatever, if you're not healthy, if your health is number one, you guys, you guys have to prioritize your health, because if you don't have your health, you have nothing. So if you're working at a 9-to-5 or working 2 jobs or whatever it is, and you're exhausted and you're not getting a good night's sleep or whatever it is, that's not good for your health. And like I said, maybe you're, trying to make more money doing that, but it's not going to, you're going to have to pay the doctors later. You know what I mean? So it's that's one thing to really always keep in mind, is your health is your number one. But back to health insurance. Honestly, we're getting catastrophe, I think it's called catastrophe insurance, which is basically if one big thing happens. But for our yearly visits, the regular physician, the my OGBYN, just our regular yearly visits, I just pay them. We just pay them out of our own pocket. So I will never work at a job just for benefits. Obviously, when I have kids in the future, maybe, I don't know what options we'll have with that, but the reality is I'm not really worried about it, because I know no matter what, something will be figured out. And even if I have to pay extra for health insurance, like I have to, get on a plan, and maybe it's going to be like, maybe $1,000 monthly for a family or a couple thousand monthly for a family. If I have to pay it, I have to pay it. But I would never want to live, just working a 9 to 5 just for health benefits, because I don't feel healthy when I'm doing that. But I feel extremely healthy doing what I do now as a full-time entrepreneur. I am so thankful that you are able to be here on my entrepreneurship journey as well. At the end of the day, I am so thankful to be in the position where I am today, and I thank God every day for it. This is your sign that you can do whatever you put your mind to. And now is the time to do it, because it's never been easier to start that business that you want to start, or to start making money online. And I hope that my YouTube channel is a great source for that. I hope you liked our talk today. I hope this video guided you in some way. If any of these things were kind of on your mind, I love to get on here and just talk with you guys. A lot of you guys listen to my videos like podcasts, and I love that, because you definitely can listen to my YouTube videos like a podcast. You can listen to them in the car, whatever. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below, because I love to hear from you guys, and I try to answer all of my YouTube comments. Also, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram at Baddie in Business for more business inspiration and updates. Be careful of fake accounts in the comments. I don't want anyone to get scammed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next YouTube video. Bye, everyone.